Math Madness. I'm Matt Matherson. On this show, we will use a little bit of madness and mayhem to teach you some fundamental math principles. It's all about making math fun. And since we're here in Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world, there's not a better way to do this than starting a business. And when starting a business, you have to know your numbers. Let's head on down to the strip and let's get started. Come on! Come on! Obviously, foot traffic is a strong consideration, and the Forum Shops at Caesar's Palace definitely has plenty of that. In fact, 41 million visitors a year come to sunny Las Vegas, and 28 million out of those visitors visit the Forum Shops annually. That's a lot of potential customers for a brand new business. So here's a question. How do we calculate what percentage of those total visitors visit the Forum Shops? Well, you can do this with me. Whip out your handy dandy calculator and let's do a quick calculation. Now, what did we say? We've got 41 million total visitors a year. Well, alrighty. We've got 41 million a year. I'm just going to abbreviate that. And we've got 28 million a year that visit the Forum Shops. Well, what if we just took 28 million, just simple division? What if we took the simple 28 million, and we don't have to write out all the millions because the 28 and the 41 are in the same spot, so we don't have to write out all the zeros. Just take the 21 and divide that by 41, and what are we left with? Well, according to our survey, it's 68%. So 68% of visitors come to the Forum Shops. How many people come to the Forum Shops, though, every day? That's the real number we're interested in. Well, according to their website, the mall receives an average of 50,000 daily visitors. Out of that 50,000, 20% are local visitors, and the remaining 80% are from somewhere else. And again, I got these stats. They're right on their website. You can verify that for yourself. Now, keeping your calculator handy, let's take the 50,000 and multiply that by 20%, okay? And what this is going to do, this is going to give us a hard, concrete number of how many people physically visit the Forum Shops every day. So what did we say? 50,000 times the 20%, and we do 0.20, and that's going to give us, check it out on your calculator, that's right, 10,000 people. I'm just going to write 10K for the 10,000. Well, there's an 80% that's left, right? So let's address that real quick too. So let's take the 50,000 again and multiply that by 80,000. I'm sorry, 8%. And that's going to give us, that's right, the remaining 40,000 people that come to the Forum Shops every day. Now, the Forum Shops has about 675,000 square feet of leasable space. That makes room for about 1,140 homes. Now, when picking a space, we have to determine what the best value is, right? So here we've got two options for spaces for rent. You've got a store space that's $4,500 a month for 2,000 square feet, and you've got one that's $7,000 a month for 3,500 square foot. What's the better deal? Well, let's go ahead and take this one by one. Since we've got two scenarios, we can knock this out pretty quick. Now, let's see. Memory serves. We had our first space, which was $4,500 a month is what we were paying in rent. And we had what? That's right, 2,000 square footage. This is our rent. And this is our square footage. Now, how can we figure out how much this is going to cost us a square foot? Well, that's real easy. Let's just take the 4,500 and divide it by the 2,000, and it gives us, bingo, 2.25 per square foot. $2.25. Is that a bargain? Well, maybe, maybe not. Let's compare that to the $7,000 that we had for our scenario 2. And what was our square footage on that? $3,500 or 3,500 square foot, correct? So we've got 7,000 we're just going to do that simple division again. 7,000 divided by 3,500 gives us, bingo, $2 a square foot. Obviously, that's the better deal. Now we have to decide what kind of business we want to open.
Multiplying mayhem, multiplying mayhem, multiplying mayhem with Mayhem Matt. Yeah. And here's our host of Multiplying Mayhem, Mayhem Matt.
Well, thank you, Hope and Hummingbird Mini, for that fabulous and most well-deserved introduction. Welcome to another exciting round of Multiplying Mayhem. I'm your host, Mayhem Matt. Let's get started. Well, today we're going to be talking about the difference between simplifying an expression and solving for an equation. Now, you may think you're too good to get tripped up, but none of us really are. So let's talk about what simplifying an expression is really quick. Isn't that when we just usually use our addition and our subtraction operations to condense and make that sucker a little bit more friendly to work with? Absolutely it is. And if it's not, well, we're going to do it anyway. So how about when we're solving? Well, when we're solving for an unknown variable, aren't we? X, Y, or zebra. The letter doesn't matter. It could be Q or ST, can it? And it absolutely can. But let's get started with simplifying right now, since I'm so jazzed to simplify. Here we go. Over here we've got, as you can see, an expression. An expression, why? There's no equal signs. Equal signs. No equal signs. Simplify, solve. So let's do that. Now, as you're probably noticing while I was rambling, we have a nesting situation. You've got a great eye. Indeed, we do. We've got our 2x minus 3 in parentheticals inside what? A bigger group. These guys don't want to belong to the whole clique. They want to group themselves off. We're going to fix that right now. So all I'm going to do is address this here in just a second, but I'm going to bring down the 6 minus the 10. Real quick here, I'm going to open up this bracket again. Just do an x plus. Now, you probably also noticed, because you are very astute people, that there's an implied 1 here. Even though it doesn't say it, you know there is a 1 right in front of this. We have to keep that in mind for here in just a few minutes, and I'll show you why. Here we go again. I'm going to put the 1 here so that we know it's there, and then I'm going to just open up the parenthetical again. We've got our 2x minus 3. I'm going to close the parentheses and our bracket. I'm just going to bring down the plus 12x. I haven't done anything maniacal yet. Getting ready to. Stick with me. Well, now that we've got this 1, we can see what has to happen, don't we? Well, it's got to be distributed. To where, you ask? Great question. Let's take it to the 2x minus the 3. I'm just going to acknowledge that right here. I'm not even going to solve it, because we're going to do this line by line and show you what we do and why we do it and how we do it, and any other ways that we can do this. So let's take our positive 1 and multiply it by, right, our 2x. Now we're going to take that same 1 and multiply it by the negative 3. I'm not solving for it yet, though. I'm just saying that I'm going to take 1 and multiply it by negative 3. And I am indeed. I'm just bringing down our brackets again, bringing down our x plus. I'm bringing down the 6, 10, and the 12. Haven't solved anything really yet, have I? But we're going to. I promise you. Stick with me. So bring this down. Well, we know that we've got parentheses here, so let's solve what's in parentheses first, don't we? Order of operations. So 1 times 2x, right, 2x. 1 times negative 3 gives us, that's right, a negative 3. An odd number of negative signs gives us, that's right, a negative answer. And a positive, even number of negative signs gives us, that's right, a positive answer. But we've got a negative 3 here, don't we? But in the process of doing this distribution with the 1, we've eliminated the parentheses, haven't we? But not the brackets. Not yet, my friends. Not yet. But we're getting ready to. Because you're multiplying madness with mayhem right here, right now. Let's do this. I'm just bringing down this positive 12x, like I've done 15 other times. I'm just bringing down the 6 minus the 10. That's all. No big deal. We talked about simplifying, combining and condensing these expressions. Let's do that right now. We've got a 2x plus an x. What does that give us? 3x. But there's something else here. Isn't there a 1 right here in front of this x? There most absolutely is. If you don't see a number in front of the variable, it's implied that there is a uno numero, that's right, 1. So let's go ahead and combine like terms right here, right now. 2x plus 1x, talk to me, baby. 3x, it absolutely is. We're not done with the bracket, though. And let's just bring down this what? We've got a negative 3 here. Let's close that bracket, because that 3 is not combining with anything else, is it? No siree, Bob. Let's bring down our 12x again. I know you're sick of it. I am too, but we're going to get rid of it in a minute, I promise you. All right, now we've got the 6 minus the 10. What's going on with this 10, though? You can see it's not just a 10, it's a negative 10. And it's being distributed to, correctamento, our 3x. Well, what does a negative 10 and a positive 3x give us? Absolutely, a positive or negative 30x. Negative 30x, indeed it does. Well, what about a negative 10 and a negative 3? What does that give us? Yuppers, gives us a positive 30. Well, we're pretty much done with the brackets at this point, aren't we? Can I bring down that positive 12x again for hopefully the last time, right? I'm going to bring down the 6. It's got to be dealt with as well, unfortunately. But that's not going to be too big of a problem here with multiplying with Mayhem, right? We got a positive 12x. We got a negative 30x over here. Can we combine those suckers to give us, that's right, a negative 18x? It doesn't get any more exciting except for I'm going to add the 6 to what? The positive 30, and that's going to give us a positive 36. Do we have any more steps to conclude? No, because we're not solving for x. We're simplifying an expression. And that, my friends, is how we simplify expressions. But the show's not over yet. Let's go over here to the solving portion of the program. We've got a 20 times x. Let's think about what we do when we see a multiplication situation. We think inverse operations, don't we? Who wouldn't if you're in your right mind? So let's go ahead and inverse this operation. We got a 20 times x equals 170. Well, I'm going to isolate x, don't I? Of course we do, because that's what we're solving for. So how do I solve that, and how do I isolate x? Can I not just divide by 20 on both sides? Because if I do it to one side, I've got to, that's right, do it to the other. Even if it's a three-legged aardvark, I have to add another three-legged aardvark to the other side. So let's do that right now. Divide both sides by 20, leaving us with x equals 8.5. All we did was just isolate that x. We divided both sides by what was being multiplied to give us x equals 8.5. Very, very simple stuff, but it's very easy to get tripped up to. But is Mayhem Matt done with you? Not by a long shot. Let's take this sucker right here. Oh, I know you hate fractions. Who doesn't? We all loathe them. If we could just kick them to the curb, we do it in a minute. So let's kick it to the curb. We got y is being divided by what? 11. It most certainly is. Well, when we think about inverse operations again, what do we think? We think multiplication because we see division. Absolutely. So let's just multiply this sucker out. If I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other, don't I? I absolutely do. We're multiplying what by both sides? 11, because it's being divided. So let's take 11 over here, and let's take 11 over here. What happens to the 11s on the left-hand side? Well, those bad boys just cross right out. We're almost through with this assassination, aren't we? It's leaving us y. Well, that's wonderful, because we want to solve for y, don't we? That was the whole point of this bloody mess. All right, what are we left with now? Well, we got a negative 2 and 11. What does that multiply by? Using fingers and toes. Last time I checked, negative 22. And holy maniacal Monday, we're done. Now, this last one is a real fun one, and that's why I saved it for last, because I wanted to just have a good time with this. Now, let me go ahead and erase this so we can focus right in on this. And I'm going to rewrite this up here so that we can see really what's going on, because there is a lot going on with this little guy, and I want to make sure that we address it properly. He deserves that much from us before we completely decimate his existence. Are you ready? Well, what do we have here with the a? A lot of things, actually, don't we? We've got it being multiplied by the 4 while being divided by the 5, isn't it? It's 4 and the 5 is also the coefficient of a, is it not? You're thinking, Mayhem, that's completely insane. It is insane. Is there more insanity that we can add to this? Probably, but I can't deal with it right now. I don't have the time or patience. So let's obliterate this sucker, all right? Here we go. What did we talk about inverse operations just a minute ago? Well, we can multiply 5 by both sides because it's dividing, right? We sure can, and we're going to. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's do that right here. And that's all I've done. I've just multiplied both sides by 5. Why? Because if I do it to one side, I have to do what? Better believe it, I got to do it to both sides. These 5s cancel out, do they not? Leaving us up with, bingo, 4a. We want to solve for a, though, don't we? We're not done yet. 12 times 5 is? It sure is. It's absolutely 60. But this a, it's got a nasty, nasty flu, and the 4 wants to get away from it. So let's get it out of there. How do we do that? What'd you say, inverse operations? Man, you're good. So let's go ahead and knock this out. We divide both sides by 4, leaving us with the apple of our eye, A. And 60 divided by 4, last time I checked, and if you have your handy-dandy calculators, which I know you do, what is that going to give me? 15. Oh, my goodness, the humanity. Well, that's all the time we have for here at Multiplying Mayhem. You've been a wonderful audience. I'm your host, Mayhem Matt. We'll see you next time here on Multiplying Mayhem. Oh, well, okay, we're back with Math Madness. Now let's review what we've learned. We know that 41 million visitors come to Las Vegas a year. We know that 28 million visitors a year come to the Forum Shops, which we said is about 68% of total visitors that come to Las Vegas on an annual basis. We also learned how to calculate the cost per square foot. That's just our price divided by the square footage. We used an example of $4,000 a month in rent for a 2,000 square footage shop. We'll be using this when we're comparing different spaces. We will also be using this information to further decide what type of business we want to open up on our next episode. Well, that's all the time we have for here on Math Madness, but I'll leave you with what we call a brain Twizzler. And this week's Twizzlers, oh my goodness. Well, so this week's brain Twizzler is going to be, what is 0? What is 0 to the 0 power? Huh. I'm Matt Matherson. Until next time, keep on counting and definitely keep on creating. We'll see you next Monday.